The African sun blazed, turning the tall grass golden. Yet the scene at the foot of the hill was anything but peaceful. It was a stage of pure desperation. Maya, a young mother elephant, was panting, her eyes wide with terror. Weeks ago, she had given birth to twins, a rare and fragile miracle. Of the two calves, one, Keto, was stronger, while the other, smaller and slightly weaker, was named Braveheart. But the miracle was under direct threat. A pride of lions, like shadows slithering through the grass, had cornered the family. Brutal instinct dictated a cruel truth to Maya. To save one, she might have to let go of the other. She desperately nudged Keto away with her trunk, urging him out of harm's way, while Braveheart stumbled, drawing the lion's attention. The tension peaked, just as the first lion lunged, and Maya let out a choke, desperate trumpet, a copper-toned surrender from her struggling calf. We pause. In the wild, motherhood is a covenant sealed by sacrifice. But what happens when a sacrifice is too great, too agonizing? In this moment, Maya faces an impossible choice, one that shatters the heart of the savannah. But sometimes, when hope seems extinguished, a different kind of protector intervenes. This is the story of how one act of quiet courage changed the outcome of an ancient rule, and why every life, no matter how fragile, deserves a fighting chance. The scene continues, but the crisis is not yet over. The lions are closing in on Braveheart. The calf Maya seemed to have resigned herself to losing to ensure the safety of Keto, the healthier calf she was urging to flee. Maya's action was not coldness. It was a brutal, primal calculation aimed at preserving the family's future. Dust flew as Maya tried to shield Keto from the lions, creating a desperate distraction, her heart torn in two. The fact that Braveheart was several weeks old made the decision even more agonizing. He was not just a newborn, but a developing life, deeply bonded to his mother. Meanwhile, perched on a ridge overlooking the waterhole, sat Elias. He was a veteran ranger and former reserve warden, a silent observer who understood the delicate balance of nature. Elias had witnessed tragedy countless times, knowing that intervention could sometimes do more harm than good. His eyes were glued to the scene through binoculars, every desperate movement by Maya etched into his memory. He saw Braveheart, exhausted, dehydrated, and nearly collapsing, encircled by the younger, more daring lions. The moral pressure weighed heavily on Elias. Deep in his mind, a struggle began. He felt the pull between the rule of conservation and the call of compassion. Should I interfere and break the natural law, or stand by and watch the inevitable pain? He closed his eyes for a second, picturing Maya's anguish at losing a calf that was already weeks old. His hand hovered over the radio, then dropped. He knew the rule: minimum intervention. But the sight of the mother's anguished split, her heartbroken trumpeting echoing across the plain, had crossed a line. This was not just the cycle of life. This was an unnecessary loss of a rare twin, a fatal blow to a small elephant family. He noticed the oldest, most aggressive male lion approaching to finish off the isolated Braveheart. Elias made his decision. It was a quiet resolve, not a rushed, dramatic action. He quickly grabbed his equipment, not a weapon, but a non-lethal deterrent kit, and started the patrol vehicle, his intention not to harm, but simply to shift the balance of that single moment. He understood that true compassion is sometimes not letting nature take its course, but creating a brief, crucial window for a fragile life to continue its fight. He reminded himself of his purpose: protection. The line between observation and action is often blurred by compassion. Elias chose to cross it, not as a conqueror of nature, but as a temporary shield. His intervention was about to test the limits of human presence in the wild. Elias's well-maintained white SUV began its slow descent toward the conflict zone. He didn't speed. High velocity suggests aggression and panic, which could provoke the lions to attack the very calf he intended to save. His approach was calm and calculated. The sound of the engine, a low, steady rumble, was the first disruption. The lions, focused on their prey, looked up, irritated by this mechanical intrusion. This was exactly what Elias wanted, to break their concentration without causing a fight-or-flight reaction that could endanger everyone. He used his first tool, engine noise, stopping the vehicle about 100 meters away, a clear sign of human presence and an immediate warning. Then, he employed the second, non-aggressive technique. He activated a series of bright, flashing LED lights mounted on the roof of the white SUV, directed away from Braveheart, but toward the lion's vicinity. The light was not blinding, but startling, a confusing, modern presence that disrupted the traditional hunting environment. The younger lions, already spooked by the noise, hesitated. They were wary of the unpredictable human element. The largest male lion, however, was not so easily deterred. It let out a deep growl, asserting dominance. Elias remained still, calm, projecting non-hostility, but holding his ground. He reached behind him and grabbed a flare gun. He aimed high into the sky, upwind, and fired a non-incendiary flare. A sudden whoosh, followed by a bright streak that soared high and burst into a large, vivid red blob in the sky, far from the pride. This startling flash and small pop was an event utterly alien and terrifying to their environment. This was the final psychological weapon. This chain of surprising, non-lethal signals achieved its goal. It told the lions that the risk-benefit calculation had changed drastically. Braveheart was no longer an easy meal. An unpredictable, bizarre factor had intervened. The lions, sensing that an easy meal had turned into a complicated, potentially dangerous standoff, began to reluctantly retreat. They are opportunists. This opportunity had now become too troublesome. Maya, the mother, witnessing this sudden, strange shift, trumpeted in confusion, but also with a surge of hope. She quickly turned back, seeing the lions depart, and rushed toward her struggling Braveheart. The intervention was complete. The lions were gone, but the immediate crisis was over. Now, Elias faced his next, and perhaps most important, challenge, earning the trust of the very family he had just saved. As the immediate threat dissipated, the savannah grew quiet again, leaving only the elephant's heavy breathing and the small engine noise of Elias's patrol car. He kept his distance, understanding that his presence, however helpful, was still a significant stressor. The most critical moment now was the elephant's family reunion. Maya moved to her struggling calf, Braveheart. The calf was weak, dehydrated, and trembling, but he had cheated death. Maya caressed Braveheart with her trunk, an obvious, emotional release washing over the scene. Braveheart managed a few wobbly steps, and Keto, the stronger twin, also rushed back to nudge his sibling gently, a small but profound act of familial support. Elias, watching through his windshield, allowed himself a moment of quiet satisfaction. He hadn't fought the lions. He had simply provided a precious chance for the family to reconnect and survive. Elias knew the calves needed sustenance and rest, not further disturbance. He slowly, deliberately backed his vehicle away, maintaining a steady pace and non-threatening posture. He left behind two essentials: fresh water poured into a natural rock depression he had spotted earlier, and a sense of safety. Elias watched intently the moment Maya finally relaxed. Her ears slightly flared, her tense muscles eased, and she began leading both Keto and Braveheart toward the water source and deeper cover in the nearby acacia scrub. She paused and looked directly at the receding vehicle. It was a knowing, ancient look, perhaps not of gratitude, but of recognition. She understood that a temporary shield had been offered. The narrative emphasizes that the true heroes are Maya's strong maternal instincts and the calves' will to live. But Elias's presence was the critical catalyst. The fact that the twins were several weeks old and showed sibling bonding made this reunion deeply moving. This was what Elias was protecting, a fragile ecosystem where even a single life can be a cornerstone for the future. The message was clear: human intervention, when born of respect and minimal force, can sometimes be a positive force for conservation, rather than just a disruption. The family was safe for now, but survival is a daily commitment, And the true emotional reward lies in their quiet resilience and the connection we share with their struggle. We return to Maya, Keto, and Braveheart several weeks later. The sun is setting, painting the sky in soft oranges and purples. Braveheart no longer stumbles. He walks confidently beside his mother and twin, Keto, his spirit restored, his future secured by that single moment of intervention. The scene radiates peace and resilience. The story is not just about a rescue. It is about the power of compassion to rewrite a sorrowful ending. The wild is a place of harsh truths, but it is also where kindness can bloom unexpectedly. Elias, the quiet ranger, didn't save the calf with a dramatic shot or a loud chase. He saved him with a gentle rumble, a careful flash of light, and the courage to act when his heart told him the scales were tipped unfairly. His action reminds us that conservation is not just about fences and regulations. It is about the human connection to the non-human world. The emotional reward is deepened as we hear Elias share his personal philosophy. Every life I protect is a piece of the story I want to tell. Every little calf, every quiet victory adds a chapter of hope to the Savanna's chronicle. Braveheart's survival becomes a symbol of hope, a living testament to the possibility of a benevolent coexistence between humanity and the wild. Keto and Braveheart now move as a unit, fiercely protected by Maya. Their initial struggle now serves as a powerful foundation for their resilience within the herd. You may feel thousands of miles away from the African savanna, but this connection and the spread of this hope are boundless. If you believe Keto and Braveheart deserve a future, and that these quiet conservation efforts need to be known, we need your help. This is a story of second chance. Let's make sure these inspiring stories of survival, compassion, and gentle intervention go viral. If this story has touched your heart, and you believe that quiet strength can rewrite sad endings, please hit the subscribe button to not miss the next stories full of hope. And don't forget to share this video to spread the message of resilience and kindness. Together, let's keep this flame of hope burning brightly.